Hey, everybody. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Woo. You can hear it in my voice there. It's cozy, and if you're out here on the East Coast, then you are getting hit by this snow, and whether you love it or hate it or a little of both, So what's going on? Anyway, what's going on? I'm Elisa Privko, your date strategist, editor-in-chief, matchmakerreview.com, and also your host this evening, your hostess, your community hostess, here to answer your questions. That's what we like to do here at Matchmaker Live. So what I want to chat a little bit tonight, guys, what's fun, it's just you and me. It's just you and me tonight. So any questions you have, please post in the comments. Any comments, be gracious and kind, please. But any comments and questions you have, please post, and I will get to them throughout the night. I want to talk a little bit about, clarity. I think this is a big thing, and this was a big thing before, the pandemic, because we know it's a holiday. There's still a pandemic. It still sucks. You're still single, and it seems you were lonelier this year than you were last year. But here's the reality. It's not so much so. And I'll explain why in a second. But first, I want to give a little shout tonight. One, to the people who are looking for some clarity. They're like, hey, I've been in this spot again for the same time, and I'm stuck. I'm in a rut. I don't want to be in a rut anymore. I'm tired of being the complainer, right? Aren't you just tired of being the so tired of being aren't you just tired of that? Like, yeah, who wants that? Nobody. Do you want that for yourself? No. All right. So anyway, tonight you're in the right place, and I will show you in a minute if you were in the right place for a couple of bullets. Gosh, I can't even talk tonight. But you were in the right place if you, either you were nervous to connect with strangers, or you've been putting yourself out there, but your love life just isn't where you want it to be, right? I mean, that's true. If that's really, truly who you are, I get it. And back to the nerves, if you're anxious and a bit nervous to connect with strangers, you've actually got to be a pretty strong person to actually admit that about yourself, because deep down, that's actually where most of us live. Or maybe you might even be just exhausted from talking about it. You're just like, I got to work on it, but I'm really tired of talking about it because it's really not sexy like it is in the movies. So what do I do? So anyway, if any of those things stand out to you, then you were in the right place. But please let us know which one sounds most like you. Which one of those sounds most like you tonight? Post which one. So first question, of course, my favorite question. Let's backwards. What is your biggest relationship struggle at this moment? What is your biggest relationship struggle right now? What's going on? Or dating struggle, whatever you want to call it. Are you putting it to the side? Are you somebody that's saying you're going to do this post the pandemic? And I want to open up your minds a bit here. You're not crazy, but here's the thing. Nobody was going out last year either. This blows my mind. Everybody's like, oh, there's a pandemic, I'm alone, I'm isolated. I can't meet people like I did before. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. But this literally the same amount of people were staying home last year too. So that means the same people were sitting here, wondering what to do. And listen, I'm not saying that it's easier, but it is in different ways. Yes, the bars and restaurants are closed, and yes, things are not the way you knew them to be last year, but people are focusing in on each other and on real conversations more than they ever have. I even got some fancy stats for you too. Literally, last year, over 30 million people were online dating in the US. Okay, woohoo. Tinder messages got a 30% bump over the quarantine because people are getting deeper with the conversations, obviously. And on Bumble, messages sent as low as 20% in all the major metros. And there was a 30% increase in messages sent. So that's a lot. That's like those are huge portions. And that's a lot. That means people are like really focused and engaging with their activities and people. And, when we ask why this is, what's your biggest struggle? It's like, can you not find people? Is it a quality thing? Is it a time thing? Is it a tools thing? Right? It always boils down to one of those three things. So, before we jump all over the place, you weren't going out last year. You likely weren't going to go out this year. So take this time to understand, how can you connect with somebody in a really non-intimidating way? Why weren't you going out and connecting with people? What was stopping you? What was holding you back? Let's be real. Let's let's do it. Let's talk about it. So I want you to, let's strip it down. Let's have a chat, because only then, when you really ask yourself these questions, you can say it out loud, will your person arrive. Okay. Second question I have for you guys, and this is a big one. Is dating easier now, or was it easier before the, well, I'm going to try this again, because I write these questions and then I talk over my own words. Is dating easier now, or was it easier before the internet? And I understand that, we're going to be in two different camps, the camps of go dating internet and the camps of not so much. Actually, I take it back. I don't think people who date on the internet are really, I don't think they're proud. They're proud representatives of the dating of the internet world, and they need to be. Because here's the thing, guys. I talk to you. I talk to you all day. And all day you tell me, I never thought I would be somebody that had to date on the internet. I was trying to avoid dating on the internet. I just thought I could meet someone. I just. Guys, big reality check for you. We're not going backwards. The internet's only going to get bigger and more complex and smarter and more dynamic. So if you don't really start to understand, if you're going to be on this planet for another 10 years, you better embrace the fact that technology is going to be the new way you're doing literally everything. And even next year, when everybody's back to the same old, companies are going to stick to digital practices that they learned during this pandemic time in regular times. And we're going to be more digital than we ever were before. It's just pushing it forward. So that being said, do you want to be on the missing out end on that? Or do you want to, really understand how these tools work and how you can position yourself at a better place to meet better people? Anyway, so just food for thought there. So if you have dated on the internet and you've had success, speak up. Why? Please let us know. And you think if it's harder right now, then also speak up and let us know why. Please comment. Please post in the comments so we can talk a little bit about that. But another thing I want to mention for you guys too, here's the thing. Here's what's fun about virtual dating right now. Money and sex are off the table. And while that might not be super exciting for those of you who just like live for the first date, sleeping with each other, this is not that crowd. For those of you who are super intimidated by anything physical and don't want to do that on the first date, and also, money seems to, is a stressor, this is a great time to connect equally, right? So nobody's picking up a check. And, I guess you can have internet sex, but there's no pressure to do that. There's no physical chemistry happening right away. In terms of that regard, you're safe. Nobody's jumping through the screen to come at you. So anyway, these are really exciting things, really empowering things. They put you in control. They put you in the driver's seat, and they put you in ability to really not be so exposed, right? Like dates are painful because if you're in a situation that isn't immediately like nice and cozy, then you have to like find a way to either endure it, which is what most people do, or get out of it. So online dating, a virtual dating, is actually really empowering because you can actually put yourself in a less painful, vulnerable position for a less amount of time, and actually it will go farther. So this is actually an exciting time, not a bad time. So if you're in the good time, then follow me. All right. Third question I have for you guys. And you guys had a whole bunch of weird answers from me on this, and let me clarify. I think it's just because my question was unclear. So let me re-clarify it. But my question for you is, what will your love life look? Here I go. What will your love life look like this time next year? And a lot of you are fun and saying things like without a mask and, at the bar. And yes, of course, right? We want our lives to look like that in general. But I say love life in terms of like this holiday season, next year. Like, what do you want what do you want to be happening? And say it. Even if it seems obvious, like, what do you want it to be? Like, do you go to, Aunt Nina's house or, for the holidays, and then, you want to bring a significant other, or, what is it? And it's okay if like you have no idea who that's going to be and you want that to be the case, because that's where we start people. People who I talk to, and you guys, you tell me, I've been single for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And it's like, and you're doing the same patterns over and over again. And sometimes people argue that it's like, no, they know these patterns. But here's the thing, guys. It's like, you do them over and over again, it only creates the same thing. It's just insanity. And you want something different. You need to do something different. So kind of pulling yourself out for a minute and realizing, okay, I got to change my patterns. I got to do something different. I got to change the way I'm looking at dating. Then maybe I'll feel more empowered and less like I'm batting off all the weird dating changes that are happening around you, because whether you like it or not, they're happening. So you can either hop on that boat and make it to the gold land, or you can stay behind. Okay, so and what will your love life look like this time next year? Make a plan, make a strategy. We give you lots here every week on Matchmaker Live. And if not, join our community at meetamatchmaker.com. I will mention that a lot of times throughout the night as well. But meetamatchmaker.com is where our community's at, where you can join to get together, to meet some people, like-minded people. We're not about excuses in this group, in this gang. If you are lonely and you are single, there is hundreds of more people just like you near you who are feeling the same. So a little bit of fireside chat tonight, you guys, since we no guest, which we kind of did that on design, because I wanted you guys to be the guest tonight. I really did. I wanted you guys to be the guest. I wanted you guys to tell me what's been going on, because you are who matters, right? Because as digital in the world changes about us, the way you date, the way you interact, the way you fall in love, changes. And what we can do to help you not only get through it and be successful at it, but actually enjoy it, because it is the most important thing in the world and in your life. And excuse me, and that's what matters, right? So I asked you guys or ask you every week really, but to send in your questions and send in your comments. And here are some comments from our community. And the first one is from two of my favorite boys. And I love that they have different views here. And this question was, why do you think you're single? And my boy John says, I'm single because most women I've met have unrealistic expectations. And my other boy Michael says, funny, I think I'm single because my standards of women are too high. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just find it ironic. And I love Michael, by the way. He's a good one up here. And down here. But I think what's interesting about this, guys, is like both guys are right and both guys are wrong, in the sense that, right, this is the struggle. And I point this out because this is the frustrating part, where it's like there's no real universal barometer for expectations on anybody's regard. Like there's no universal dating barometer for like the expectations. And yet it seemed like it's expected. It's supposed to be a very obvious thing, right? Like it's supposed to be like so much so people don't talk about it. They're like, right? Like my standards aren't that bad, right? Like they just are. And so when we constantly don't give specificity or details to these sort of dynamic things, then we won't ever figure it out. You guys will never figure it out. John will never figure it out because he will never understand the unrealistic. He will never understand what women are saying with their unrealistic expectations. Women will never understand what they're saying about what they're placing on these guys. And, and that's just kind of the nature of it. So what this tells us, guys, is that we need to bring to light, hey, where's the barometer? Where's the universal barometer for expectations on the guy side, on the girl side, on the non-binary side, on everybody's side? What's that barometer, so we can get somebody to agree on something, so everybody can step onto the field on equal status. So thank you, boys. Thank you for playing. Love you as always. Excuse me. Let me take a little sip of my soda. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Second question. And I'm having my ladies jump in, which I like as well. What are you looking for? And, Anne said something really powerful, and something that I hear a lot of people say, actually. I'm looking for someone that will finish my sentence. That's a real connection to me in any way, or that's a real connection to me anyway. And this idea and this phrase and this notion of finishing someone's sentence, and listen, I get it. I I love that too. I know I can finish my husband's sentences. I know he can finish mine. And really, when we break it down to what the beauty of that is, why that's such a beautiful thing, and really it means that you care enough and can look so deeply enough into someone else that you can literally anticipate what that person is thinking. And that's such a gentle thing. It's such a beautiful thing. It's such a delicate thing. It's such an intimate thing. And that moment is what people seek, are actually seeking. So when we look for something that deep, we really have to adjust our expectation, though, of when we're going to feel it and when we're going to know that that's even possible. Because, and again, I'll say, I love this, but I don't love it, but I say this a lot. You're not, whether you think it or not, you are not going to know right away if the person you are talking to, if you've never met them before, is going to understand you in your entirety. You're just never going to know. There's no way. Now, you may hit it off easier with someone than another, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the right move and the other person's not. And I say this because, she says, I'm looking for someone that will finish my sentence. That's beautiful. And you deserve that. And you need that. But in order to get to somebody that's going to finish your sentence, you've got to find someone that isn't scared enough to start a sentence with you. And this is what we forget. Ladies always forget how beautifully complex you are, right? They love you, whether you're the ladies that like the ladies, or you're the guy that likes the ladies, or whatever. Women are beautiful, complex creatures that will always rule the world. But in reality, in order for you to really get what you're seeking, you have to be clear. Even if you think you are, the fact that you're single and you're still single and you're not finding what you're looking for is proof that you're not. Plain and simple. And if you're arguing with me right now, that's even more proof that that's why you're single. Okay. So, but anyway, and I love this, and you're going to find that. I know you're going to find that. So I would say in this regard, the best place that you could find a real connection is to just put your expectation on when you're going to feel that. So the moral of the story here is, the lesson is, even on a first date, if you don't feel an extra connection, an extra spark, especially I'm not talking about if you're over 30, over 35 years old. I'm not talking if you're a teenager, if you're a teenager doing this. If you were an adult and you're on a first date with somebody and it was a nice time and you had good things in common and good conversation, you need to go on a second one. You do not have to wait for the magical Matrix Disney fireworks sparks moment. Please don't. And if you do, and you use that as the spirometer, then you are going to keep failing, because that is not real, because of all the reasons that we've talked about on the show. 1, because of hormones. 2, because of how old you are. 3, because that's not real life. But the real life of someone to finish her sentence can happen with time, with investment, with the right person, and finding the right person has different expectations at that stage. So now the question becomes, what are the expectations on a first date? How do I look for somebody that's a good match for me? And then we can ease up the questions and make it lighter and make it easier for him and for you, so you guys can actually go somewhere. So thank you, Anne. Love you, girl. Okay, and so and the last comment or input I wanted to kind of go over tonight. And again, let me point out, if you guys are out there and you're watching and you have a question for me, or you have a comment that you want to say, please post. We're happy to address it. Okay, so the last question that I asked you guys, how you want to feel, and I ask a lot of people that. I usually end all of my chats with that question: how do you want to feel? And my lovely Joanne's answer of important really struck me big, because I think I feel like everybody would put that on their top 3 list. I don't think there's one person I've met that would not put that on their number 1, 2, or 3 spot list, if not number 1. And I think when we can really all boil this down to, every time we're talking about expectations and talking about strategy and how to post and how to date and all these things, it really boils down to a couple of things. At the end of the day, you just want to feel important. You want to feel like you're feeling the same way someone else is feeling too. And So when that's the case and you're as beautifully vulnerable like someone like Joanna, and you put yourself out there, then you're gonna reap the rewards of that. You're going to find other people who also want to feel important and who understand the value of that, right? That's why you get what you put out, right? I think the biggest question is, it's like, I don't know why I'm getting for example, from my ladies, they that get negative attention. I don't know why I'm getting all this negative attention. They just say all these guys I'm not interested in are messaging me and they're losers. They're not who I want. Well, it's like, but and then I go to see how they're presenting themselves, and they're putting out the vibe of guys like that. And so when you really start to put out what you're seeking, you're saying, I want to be important. I want to be respected. I want to be in love. You put these things out there, and even the trolls who are bashing on you, that's not your person anyway. So screw them. And then the people who are looking for that, because you only need one, will come out, and it'll be beautiful. But you have to be courageous enough to put yourself out there, because here's the reality, guys. You're not going through anything special. You're just not. You're not going through anything special. I'm not going through anything special. This is all stuff that's been happening for years and years and years. And the problem is everybody's got their own head stuck up their own butt so much that it's really getting in the way of you finding something spectacular. And listen, me included, I'm not above this. But what is really stopping you is like really putting yourself out there, and not in a polished PR kind of way, right? It's like, we know this internally. It's not real life. You're talking about somebody you want to curl up in a cave with and grow old with. Like, so don't put yourself in a weird catalog. That's not true. So how you want to feel, you're boiling it down. You want to be important. Lead with what's important. It's because you don't have this much time on the planet, and that's the most important thing. So great job, Joanne. And keep moving forward with that. So a couple more questions, you guys, and then I'm going to throw up a poll, and then we'll wrap it up for the night. But, and again, I'm still getting this question. I think some of you have even made up your mind, like, you're not going to date until the pandemic's over. And we really, really have to be careful of that, because, you have to be careful of not going to extremes, like my dating life, is on hold till the pandemic is over, because your love life it can change like in a moment. And it's important because of what I said before, right? Because we're in situations, very concentrated situations, where you're actually more likely to get into an intimate relationship virtually this way than you would the old way, because your expectations were different. Your energy is different. The way you approached it was different. So you're actually getting deeper with people faster than you ever have at doing it in a digital fashion. And this is powerful. And if you can layer it in the right way, getting to know them digitally and then opening it up to a video and then opening it up to in person, then you can actually move that process along a lot faster than if you were to do it the old way. So should you be dating right now? Yes, 100%. You don't have to be screwing each other to be dating, guys. You don't have to be like going to a restaurant, going to movies. Yes, that's great. And that'd be awesome, but it's not life right now. So get over it and date online, like figure it out. Let me tell you, that is whether you're a guy or your girl or whatever, that is the most attractive thing, for someone to come up with a cool, fun idea and be like, hey, I know this pandemic is whatever. And so I came up with virtual game show dating, and we're going to do this fun thing. And that is so fun. Like, that's fun. It's like something different, So don't blame the system that you don't have your dating life back. Like, be lucky that you had it, and be lucky that it's coming back to you soon. And in the meantime, optimize this time and get in front of the camera and do something different and innovative. And you'll actually get more attention from somebody who never would have looked at you otherwise because of it. So second question after that one is, what can you do to attract who you really want? And I get this question a lot because people kind of dismiss it like, oh, I'm not that way. I'm not pretty like that, or I'm not smooth like that, or the people around me just aren't who I'm looking for. We kind of project a reason on why we are in a situation. And let me preface this with being single, especially right now, is amazing that you have the ability to be single and like make it a healthy choice. Like you can be single and like have a rockin' rest of your life and be cool. And like if that's really what you want, like you can. Like, and if this were 50 years ago, you might have a tougher time because of all the different ways that media was not giving you those opportunities. But now with all these ways, you can do that. But also, too, if you want to be with someone, you can do that too. So there's no reason, if you're a single person and you're miserable, there's no reason, one, you can't be in a relationship, or two, you can't be working on it. And three, if you're here and you're single and you love your life, get off this channel because this is not for you. Like, let's go. I love you. Like, love you, but when. This is for people who are looking for their relationships. So how do you attract what you really want? And this kind of bleeds out into what I said before, which is, you guys, you're adults. Like, you're adults, you got to lead with what you want. I'm not saying being aggressive. You don't have to like wear a poster, but you need to lead with it in the sense of like understanding about, hey, you know, not being afraid to make short-term commitments in terms of trips and things like that. You know, really doing more listening than you are talking, really making sure that you're acting differently in ways that that you weren't before to heed a different result. So if you're looking to feel more important, if you're looking for somebody to listen to you more, then the best way to do that is for you to treat someone else more important and for you to listen to them more. And the sooner you start doing that and show them an example, the sooner you will start to receive that back. And it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of the times we think we're doing it, but reality is if you're not receiving it and you're not getting it, you're probably not giving it. So use that as a mirror, whether you like it or not. Okay, so attractors really want put out there. It's the oldest saying in the book, you know, we give niceness to receive niceness. Okay, and another question you guys had for me or for us, what are some tips you have for getting clarity early on in the connection? This is a big one right now because everybody's been pandemic dating for a while, and there's a lot of I don't know what to even call them. There's a lot of dating. There's a lot of dating and flings and things and love connections. And most people are balancing between 1 and 3 people, which is a lot, which is like middle school numbers, right? Those are like middle school numbers, you know, when you rotated boyfriends and girlfriends, like fake ones. Anyway, but my point is, you know, if that's your status right now, you have to be really aware why you're doing that. You're not going to be able to go any deeper with any one person if you're rotating that many people and that many conversations, unless they're going through the initial phase that we were talking about, right? Because there's only a certain amount of questions, a certain amount of interactions that you should be having with somebody online before it moves to the next step. It has to. If it doesn't move to the next step, you give them the heave-ho because at that point, it's not worth your time. So everybody in the initial first phase asks the same questions. You know, you do that same, get to know the same information. And if they don't really, you know, pass that sort of what you're seeming, then they can throw out the window. And that really helps you can move along quickly. And so some tips to get clarity. Do not be afraid of the video chat. Guys, this is if you hear nothing tonight, hear this. If you think somebody's remotely interesting and you've had like 2 conversations with them, like video chat. If you have 1 conversation with them, video chat. Why are you wasting your time? They're gonna see you eventually. Like for them not seeing you right away it's just gonna delay the experience. It's gonna make it like worse. It's gonna make you really disappointed. So like right away, get on the video chat, let them know, let you want to know, and move your life along. So don't delay this. It's strange to me why this happens. But anyway, don't delay the video chat. That's my biggest tip. I'm not even going to give you another one because that's the one everybody needs to do. Get on a video chat, make it happen. You will get all your answers. If they are hesitant to get on the video with you, that tells you everything. Seriously, why are people being shady about getting on video with you? That's not. And if they do, then great. Then you get to know and they let the guard down and really, really let it happen. So that's my tip. And then another question you guys had were, what are a few tips for getting their attention but still giving off the right impression? I love this question, and I loved your answers and your different thoughts and ideas because, you know, whether you're that person that wants to move things along quickly, you're not the most patient person, or you're somebody that likes to go, you're a little bit more of the tortoise and to move a little slower. Again, back to that universal barometer. What can we all agree on is the right, acceptable, okay statement question thing to ask and say in order to move things. And again, I think if somebody, here's the reality, if you ask a sincere question and it rubs the person you're talking to in the wrong way, it's if your energy's coming off from that way, then they're not right. They're not right, right? Because if you're truly sensing your sincerity and you're really not afraid to say, hey, you know, what can we do in 3 weeks? This is what I'm looking for. That confidence you need to meet in somebody else. So it's okay to say those things, and it's okay that they aren't comfortable with that. And it's okay that they reject you, and it's okay to know that you're going to be the stronger one and the bigger person in that regard. So as far as giving off the right impression, make most of your interactions about the other person. Whether you're a guy or a girl, I would make most of your interactions about questions. And not in an interview sense, but in a sense that you're really listening, and make them buildable questions. You know, not just like where you went to school, what's your favorite color. If you ask a question like, what's your nationality? And I answer back Italian. And you write back, do you have any family in Italy? So we have that built in that question. So you asked me if I have my family in Italy because I'm Italian. So we build on that. It's not just like, oh, that's cool. What's your favorite color? Which has nothing to do with the fact that I'm Italian. So do you see how we did this? So by you asking me another question, one, you're telling me that you don't want to hear yourself talking, which is always sexy to anybody. And two, it told me you heard what I said and listened and applied it quickly, which means you're an excellent listener, which is a turn on to anybody, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. So that's my biggest recommendation, is to give off the right impression. It's actually not about the fact that you're willing to commit and that you're actually interested in those things. That's actually not the thing that turns people on and off. It's your ability to listen and apply it and move it forward. So that would be my tip, would be to ask questions and ask buildable questions. And then after 3 or 4, then give something about yourself. Or you could do 1-for-1. You could definitely do 1-for-1 if the other person is curious. But I would say if you're in the driver's seat and you're looking to woo another person, or be attractive to another person, then don't be afraid to lead with 3 or 4 questions and make them buildable questions. And then at that point, the other person should be asking you a question. If not, you need to move on, because that's somebody who's just too into themselves. Okay. All right. Let's do a little do a little poll time, and then we'll do a little next action steps, and then we'll any questions from you guys if you haven't, and then we'll wrap it up and then call it a night. What do you guys say? Okay. So poll question for you. Have you been on a video date this year? Why, if not, why or why not? And again, this goes back to what I was saying before about the video dates, guys. Come on, 2020 pandemic. I don't live in a place that doesn't exist yet. You know, we could get hit by a meteor tomorrow. So just like live in the now. Let's live in the now. Let's figure out how we can like all make things happen right now. So why haven't you been on a video date yet? Are you in the camp of yes? I have, and I like meeting someone on a video first better than in person. Please, if you're that person, please give me a, please note A. Or are you B? Yes, and it's weird, but I'm doing it, and I give you props. Good, that's where you need to be. Or C, you're not yet, and my reason is you have to give a reason. You can't just say no. If you're just saying no, then you have no excuse for where you're at. Or D, nope, no way, no how, and my reason is, and you must give a reason, because if you do not, again, I don't want your complaining, but in my house. Okay, let us know. A, B, C, O, D, and Y. So what's your next step, guys? It's snowing. You're alone. You're cozy. You're like, all right, I've decided I need to think about this in another layer than I have before. I'm committed. You're like, Elisa, yes, I agree. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. What's my next step? Here are my tips for you guys. If you're on a dating app, the best thing you can do is either talk about the things that excite and interest you and be a little bit vulnerable about things. That's literally the best thing you could do. You can be exciting and be interesting, and you can be a little bit vulnerable about it. And then that will really create that connection that people are talking about, that spark, those neurons, that spark that literally comes from brain firing, neuron, like spark. That's where that comes from, like synapse, brain connection, firing, energy, conversation. So if you position yourself in that way, then you'll actually position yourself in a space to encourage that spark. Then not, it doesn't just happen. It's not like a force of the universe that happens regardless if you put it forward. Yeah, you need to be ready. You need to be open. You need to be putting the right foot forward. It's not just gonna like happen out of nowhere. So, like I said, if you're on a dating app, after you've met 9 people, that is the magic number. 9 people, get off the app. Get off the app and get to know at least one of those people better, because that is the ratio. That goes to show after 9 people, you're just repeating the same patterns over and over again. So 9 people, pick one, get to know them better. And see where the patterns are, see what you're attracted to and see what you're not. And then we start to compare notes and really whittle it down. And if someone is not going to get to know things about you, let me back this up for a second. Get off the text, guys. Like I said, 9 people, if you can even handle that, but you get three nights of interactions via text. You're not going to get to know somebody through text. Okay. You get one night of text. Next step is at the very minimum a phone call. I vote for a video call first and foremost, but at the very minimum a phone call. You need to start putting voices to context, to conversations. You're not going to get to know someone through text because it just doesn't prove who they are. It doesn't prove they are who they say they are. Whether you think you're a good sense of character or not. Guys, I'm going to truth bomb you right now. I don't care how good of judgment you think you are. People are really good con artists, and there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of easy things that they can do, whether you think you're a good sense of character or not, to fool you. And even the best detectives wouldn't know based on this initial interaction. So you've got to set your expectations that you're going to have a weird feeling you're going to be able to spot these people on the internet, whether guys or girls. You're not. They're getting smarter, and they're smarter than you are because they're making a boatload of money on the internet right under your nose, actually from you with your money. So be smart, understand the numbers, understand what you're doing, which is get off text, get on at least a phone call, if not a video chat. If you've hit 9 people, pick one, get to know them more. Talk about things that excite you. Talk about things that excite you. Talk about things that interest you. And talk about things that allow you to be vulnerable. And do a fun pairing. Do an interesting pairing. Something vulnerable with something fun, something goofy with something interesting. And that way you'll show somebody that you have multiple sides to you, which automatically makes you interesting and approachable. And again, guys, any questions you have, please post, please send. We have them for you always, and you can send your questions to us on any of these platforms. But if you want to join our group, you guys, please join our singles gang. We're a lot of fun. We host great conversations in there. I connect you with some of my awesome dating friends and communities that you can expand and get to know other singles that you never would have met before that are really around the corner from you and you never knew. So it's our virtual dating community. They're fun. They're people going through what you're going through. And if you don't at least come into our free group, then you're a complainer. So anyway, come in. Everybody's vetted. Everybody has to go through video chats. You got to be a real person. So we kind of take that embarrassing sting away, and we crack a few jokes while we're at it. But you get to know the information, where to date, how to date, who to date, and really give you a reality check so you can stop waking up in these snowstorms alone, right? Because that's a bummer. So anyway, head to meetamatchmaker.com, fill out your free profile, and it will connect you to book a time with me, and we'll bring you into the community, and you can start to connect with some of the really awesome people there. So you can start to have a nice holiday, have a nice winter, because it's about to be a long one, right, guys? About to ride and buckle up, because it is about to be a long one, and we don't want that. Anyway, so any questions you have, join us there, meetamatchmaker.com. As always, I will be here for you every week, answering your questions. You don't have to be alone this holiday. We're here for you. Hang in there. We love you. And until next time.